Hey famous warrior, welcome back to our channel. Today I have an old friend here with me. We used to both work at the church for a time, which feels like a lifetime ago. Ndinawe Mondoloka is here to help me continue the conversation about fighting through divorce, but this time from a male perspective. So I'm not just excited, but I am hopeful that through this conversation, you guys watching will get one or two things, if not for you, then for somebody who you care about, someone who's close to you. Again, I hope you guys are finding this to be your space to come and get encouragement and inspiration to fight those battles of life. And one of the battles we get to fight in this life is the battle of marriage and sometimes fighting through divorce. So I hope that this conversation will be good for you. Ndinawe, thank you so much for not only making the time, but for agreeing to come and bear your soul here with me, with us. I appreciate your agreeing to be here with me today. Welcome. So before we get into our topic for today, I want to lay a bit of a foundation, let our viewers get to know who you are as a person outside of the topic. So start off by sharing 5 fun facts about yourself, or tell us about yourself in 5 sentences.
5 sentences.
Only.
I'm Ndinawe Mondoloka. That's my name. I'm a child of God.
Okay.
I like being funny. I'm a funny guy. I enjoyed it because it gives me the peace. They say laughter is like medicine to your heart. I'm a finance person by profession.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I love kids. And I'm a lover of the word of God. I think those 5 sentences for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love
All
my
right.
God. Thank you.
No, that helps us at least know who are we listening to? Who is this person that Louise is talking to? So again, as I continue to lay the foundation, I want to know how old you are when you first got married, and what hopes did that young Ndinawe have, that young man, what hopes did he have for marriage before he went into it?
Okay. I think like every other, I would say human being, you desire to have a worthy partner in your life. I think the Bible always says, it's the instruction that God gave. I think people should never deny it. It says that it's not good for man to be alone. Yes. And for me at that time I was getting married, I was like, I think my early 30s, maybe like 32, somewhere there.
Okay.
And for me, I felt like I found my mincing rib.
My person.
My person. Like one friend would say, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was my person. Oh, she's not, she's there. But I'm saying she was my person at the time. I was saying, okay, this is the person I found in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, like you have dreams to say you're gonna have a family, although we were coming into a blended home.
Okay.
She had a daughter, I had a daughter, but we still had hopes that we were gonna have one nice good family with another one coming our way if when God blesses us. Yeah. And you have all these high hope dreams. She was my best friend, my buddy, and you're thinking like this is gonna be like for life. Like we always have, even us guys, we have the dreams of saying it's for life. I've found my mate, my soulmate, somebody I'll raise a godly family with. Yeah. And I think that's, for me, my dreams were like, I'll even get old see
Yeah.
my generation, see other children from my children, even from the children that we came into the family who are like two beautiful daughters. Although one is late now. So I think for me it was just the life of fulfilling God's commandment of having that relationship that Christ has with the church, having my wife there with me. Yes.
So how long were you married before things began to break down, for lack of a better term? Not before the divorce actually happened, but before now it's like, okay, we're headed in that direction. Things are just not working right. How long was it into the marriage before that began to happen?
I think, the first few months of a marriage, you're like, I don't know, lack of better word, you have the euphoria of, I'm happy, it's
The
my person,
phase,
honeymoon
so they
phase.
say, right?
For me, it's like the thing was that I've discovered that I'm a very conscientious person, so I'm a dominant C person. I like detail. So getting into marriage, I was like, for me, was like, I'm in this marriage. For me, it wasn't like, oh, we should have this honeymoon life. And I was looking, okay, we already have a running family. What
You
plan?
have no time.
I have
Like,
no time
the
to
kids are
start
already
thinking.
here,
The
right?
kids are already here. They need to eat. Their school bills. We still have got bills and rentals. Just living. For us, it's life started.
Yeah.
We didn't have the issue of where we're gonna hang out, go to the honeymoon for the 1 year phase, 2 year phase to plan for kids. We already have a home.
Yeah.
We can do those things, but we have to do them with a caution of saying we can't be wasteful whilst we have little kids there. So I think probably what happened was that maybe 6 months, 7 months down the line, you have got these expectations of marriage, our wife, we're living at home, and when you go into a marriage with these preconceived expectations, you start rubbing on each other wrongly, because she is expecting this to happen, and she's expecting a certain life to be led because of what we have preconceived of how marriage is. It's not like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
And I also have this, and then we have the reality hitting us every day. And 6 months, 7 months down the line, 8 months, we start rubbing on each other wrongly. She wants to have fun. I'm very conscientious, being a money person. I'm like, okay, how do we do these things? How do we have fun and also compromise on our kids? She's also a finance person at that time, so she's also understanding this thing, but she also wants to live life. It's not like we should always base it on money or anything, but she also wants to live life. She says, oh, we're married, let's enjoy this life.
And work and no play.
Yes, right? And I'm like saying, okay, how do I navigate? You see, so there now we start if, for example, if let's say her friends go out because she wants to have fun, I'm not tagging along because I'm saying, I think I can't go to the places you're going. Because at that particular time, I think I was working for the church, so I was telling myself, I can't be in certain environments knowing where I work.
Yeah.
And also it doesn't sit well with my spirit.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, we still have to have fun. But then I chose to be more of a home dad. I would, of course, be home with the kids, and she would go have fun on her own. I think maybe I would say that was now causing ground of us to now start having differences, because she's out there, I'm home, I'm thinking, where's my wife? And she's okay, she's a very straightforward person, so I'm thinking, okay, she's safe, but I'm just worried as a husband. I'm worried about, so that starts causing friction. She'll come at whatever time, and then we start have arguments over saying, you still want to be married but still live these individual lives. Because for me, I believe what I would do out there, even if I'm gonna go with my friends out and I'm married, whatever I'm gonna do out there, it's gonna affect my home. I think about 9 months down the road, I started seeing things were just not happening properly.
Okay.
We are not talking to that much. We are either when we talk, there's some friction happens. You know, we don't talk for some while.
Yeah.
What they call picture no sound.
Yeah.
I was now practicing that life. For sure, like to give a kudos to her. She is a very brave girl. She's a very nice person. She's got a big heart, you know. Just as circumstances happened that conflict came in.
Yeah.
But she's always been a person that has had a big heart. So for me, I'm proud of whatever she's done up to now in her life. And I always tell her that, and I'm like, kudos, I'm cheering. Yeah. She's my ex, but she's my person.
I think a lot of people who've gone through divorce like yourself wouldn't be able to sit here and say that because of what you just mentioned. Like when things go sour, they start to get bad, you forget that this person was good. Like in the beginning, you forget what attracted you to that person. You forget why you became friends and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden they're all bad.
Yes.
You can't stand them. Someone mentions their name, you're even like, upset. So it's really good to hear that, despite things not ending the way that you would have hoped that they would have gone, that you're able to still say, hey, I'm in your corner, I'm cheering for you. Yes, we did not work out, but that doesn't mean we should be enemies. So you mentioned, coming into the marriage with both of you having daughters from previous relationships, right? And do you think that the fact that your first relationship with your daughter's mom didn't work out the way you had hoped put you in a position where maybe you were overcompensating, or in the back of your mind thinking there could be a possibility that even in this relationship, what I experienced in my previous relationship might happen? Or are there things I need to change from was that in your mind at any point in this now new marriage that you've gone in? Because you mentioned, all the hopes that you had, but in the back of your mind, were there any of those thoughts that you would have, okay, maybe this might also not work out like the way it happened before?
For me, I think, like you rightly said, you have these expectations, and then you have a failed relationship. I don't want to have what I went through coming into this marriage. So now I became a very cautious person.
Hyper cautious.
Yes. So, and then when I see certain trends, I'm like, they're gonna trigger something again.
History might.
You see, yes. So for me, it was now like what I learned that people are different. You can have certain similarities in behavioral patterns, but people are different. So unfortunately for me, it was a time where I'm from a messed up relationship, which has now resulted in my daughter being in a wheelchair, and now I'm going to this hoping that things will kind of pan out better.
Yeah. And
my wife then loved my daughter. They had a bond. She wasn't the mom, but she could see that the love was there. It was there. They were buddies. The same way I was buddies with my other daughter who was older, her daughter who is older, but we were buddies. We were glued together. So my aim was now I don't want things that I probably did in the past relationship to affect this new one.
Yeah.
But as you can see, when you get into these blended relationships, depending on how you ended in the previous one, you have issues of maybe mommy daddy dramas. The mom wants this thing, the mom doesn't want her child to be close to your wife. There are phone calls coming in, shouting at you, shouting at her, and all that also was trying to bring pressure as well in the relationship. So for me, it was I'm trying to avoid this drama, to try to keep my newfound love and relationship in a certain way that is outside the influence of destructive factors.
Yeah.
So trying to do that, probably now also overcompensating, like you said, on trying to be this good person that I've always been to now be every projected on the new relationship I have. But then, you can't fight things that are outside your boundaries.
Yeah.
So you find that people start saying this. You've got phone calls. You've got your wife calling you to tell, people are shouting at me. Then all that now becomes drama. Your ex, your what, and then the child. You get into the mix. Then you start wondering, like, am I gonna have peace? You see. So even those things can escalate pressure in your marriage. Because you're trying also to protect your family now,
your new
from
family.
from the outside influences. But unfortunately, somehow they, depending on how we allow them into the space, they seep in, and next minute you're at the police giving the child to the mother, and the police are telling you guys stop dragging each other into this drama. You see, and you go home, you're worried about where the child is, your wife is looking at you like, dude, what's all this drama? And all those things are affecting,
of course,
the way we relate to each other.
Yeah.
Because inside me, I'm like thinking, how's my daughter?
Yeah.
I can't live without her right now. So all those things are happening. So I think, that's why now I learned it the hard way that, you have to be in the Lord in all the times.
Yeah.
You have to seek God's guidance. You just don't do things just because, I'm a man, I can maneuver. No. We always have to make decisions with God in the picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How long after your failed relationship did you begin to think, okay, I think I want to try again? I want to look for a spouse. I want something like genuine to build a home and build a family. And then my second question to that is, do you think that was enough time for you to have healed from whatever happened in the first relationship to put you in a position where now you can be the husband that you needed to be in the marriage?
I think the time that I didn't take time. The same issue where like you feel like you're gonna get healing in another relationship, so you start nurturing another one when the other one has just broken off. So without taking much time to do an introspection to say, what do I want for my life? What do I? So then that feeling of needing somebody by your side. It's like what you call, I learned to say a word called codependency comes into play. You feel like you need to have somebody in your life, and that starts dragging you down. Not having chance to, let's say, what have I done? Where did I go wrong? What better decisions can I make? Without now having to have exterior influences to say, okay, maybe if you find a new partner, things will start working out. And jump into another relationship, and without really sorting out the other piece of my life. So, like now you start stumbling on other things. Then with my ex-wife, we dated for like 3.5 years. I was so cautious because I didn't want to just jump into something.
Because you had your daughter.
Yes. So now in that process, I was also trying to relearn this new person I'm with in my life. We're buddies, we're what. So she was there for me. I was there for her. We were together. So I was like now saying, okay, I don't know how long a relationship should take before you tie the knot. So I just kept on going until I got the question next, say, dude,
what are we doing
what
here?
are we doing here? And
what is this?
What's happening? Then
Yeah.
I sat down at home. Baby mama drama this side. It seems not to be ending. But this one.
Yeah.
Also, if I let her go, then when am I going to find another nice one like this one?
Yeah.
So eventually, you get convinced in your head that no, this one is the one. And because she's good. She's a good person.
Consistent.
She's consistent. We're now together at church. We now fellowship at the same church. Where she used to come. She was at UCZ. Is at my church now, at Miracle Life, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, this chick is in love. She's my guy.
Yeah.
And I bring her on, and I think no, it's her. And she keeps on, dude. what's the plan?
Yeah.
3.5 years. Okay, then I go down on my knees. I say, let's do this.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I'm the guy. Valentine's Day, I'm like, this is my girl. And we're happy. It was all right.
Yeah. What would you say, without going into any details, but what would you say for you was like the final straw that made you make the decision, like, this marriage is over? I've tried whatever I can try. We've done what we can do to try and save it. But like me and myself, we are done.
For me, I think, the thing is that I grew up a home which was not broken. So I have one messed up relationship, and I'm in a marriage now, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get messed up.
Yeah.
For me, even through the fighting, the bad talking, the what, my aim was not to leave her. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
I wanted to still stick in my marriage. Unfortunately, sometimes when you have all these expectations, at that particular time, I had to resign from my job. And although we had a conversation about it, in the next month or so, I'm leaving work because I need to leave work. There's things that were not straightforward, not like there's something wrong that happened at the office. No, it was things that to do with issues of maybe performance. I don't know, but I'm the type of person who doesn't carry you home to work. I am like that. Yeah. But then anyway, there was some few hiccups at the office, so I had to resign, and I had a chat with her to say, no, this is what's happening. She had a very good job, very good gainful employment. She's doing okay. I said, no, we need to just adjust our life. Yes, despite that, yes, we are still having conflicts about late coming and other issues. So I said, no, this won't happen. And as supportive as she was, she would just say, no, dude, we'll fight it together. Whatever happens, we'll manage. So I leave my work. That month, we're trying to navigate the fact that now she's like more or less one income. She's coming from her. So our outings also continue. Because of that, now I'm like, dude, we can't live life like this. So the fightings, the no talking, such like you saying, like, for me there was nothing like in my mind to say this is the last straw. I'm done with this marriage. I wanted to willingly work through it. But then because now it was becoming toxic for even her, I think the day she left, we had a big fight. I was blabbering probably about where she goes, where she's partying with her friends and who she hangs out. She's also what, and then we're exchanging words. Things just become bad. We have a big fight. I just said, okay, I'm leaving. Let me go to town. Come back home. And she's packed her stuff and she's left. She's gotten our daughter and left my biological daughter home. And I'm thinking, okay, what is happening now? Yeah. What have I done? You see, in my mind is like, now how do I get hold of her just for us to talk? Yeah. Yes, a lot of things were said. Things were happening. We became rough on each other. Trying to call her now to say, let's talk. She's not answering. She's not what. And that was the last day I saw her. And she left.
So just pause there. You mentioned you didn't come from a home that was broken, right? Do you think your wanting to work things out in your marriage stemmed from a genuine desire to work things out because of your vows, or it was also in there that in my family we don't do such things, don't divorce? I didn't see this. I've already had a failed relationship. I can't do this twice. So was there also an element maybe of the male ego in there? because I'm talking to a man who's been through divorce, and I want to highlight certain things that men go through and men think, because it's different. When I had the conversation with Wankumbu about the female's perspective, it's very different how men and women sometimes navigate some of these things that happen. So in that situation, and even in this desperate moment where you're trying to get a hold of this person, she's packed her things, she's left, she's taken your daughter, and you're thinking, okay, I need to at least get her back to the table for us to just talk. Maybe I can say sorry one more time. Was there some element of, I don't want to be seen as a failure, the male ego in there somewhere?
Like you said, what strikes you is like now, like not any man out there would want to have a failed marriage. I would find it's a lie to somebody say, I wanted it done. Because the ego comes and knocks in and says, dude, you're the man, you're supposed to hold this home together. So now I'm like thinking, okay, this has happened. How will society look at me? How will my relatives, even her relatives, look at me now? It's like, like the thing is that for me, what is now going in my head is not like, it's like we carry the shame. People might not see it, but you're carrying the shame and the guilt, like, okay, I've messed up. I've messed up. How do I get back this person who is the so-called bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh back in line? I stuck to the verse of God saying he hates divorce. So that was killing me. It was chopping me inside out. Like, I can't have this happening. And the bond that we had with our kids, having them to be split was like really painful. I didn't know. I tried to talk to my ex, say, please, can I still see our child? It was very painful. It's still, up to date, I still find it very difficult because she's my daughter as well. If I would say after losing her young sister, she's the only daughter I have right now who I can say she's my daughter. It's not about not being a biological dad to that child. It's the thing that, the bond that I have with that child. And not only that, the bond that we develop with a mom over time. So I miss that. It kept on eating me for days, for years. Even when I sit back today and like saying, okay, that was a good thing. But I think like what happens most of the time is the male ego kick in, shame and guilt. You try to put a brave face to the people that, hey guys, I got this. But when you're alone in an empty home, in an empty room, you're sleeping, you're thinking, my child has lost another mother, because the mom was not, her real mom was not in the country, was staying in South Africa. She's lost another mother. How am I gonna do it? Raising a single child, raising a child who has got special needs. Who am I gonna run to? Who am I gonna live to? Men need to come to terms to say, guys, when you are hurting, don't hide. Say it out. If it means crying, cry. That's your part. That's your person. I remember in one of the classes for premarital, they stick glue to love-shaped paper, 2 pieces of paper, and they attach them, and then they let it dry. So when you split that paper, trying to separate, pieces of that other paper go into the other one, and the other one goes on the other one. It causes drama. It causes drama in relationships. I don't relate the same way. I love my in-laws, but I can't relate them the same way I used to relate them. So all that is fractured relationships. Even my brothers-in-laws who I love, some of them were my best friends in school. We don't talk that often because damage has happened. But I would love, even if that damage has happened, I would love people to be like together. I love people being together. I always like to chill and say, whatever drama has happened, feel life if you have to be together. You have to enjoy life.
I think that's why God says he hates divorce. Not so much that he hates it when couples get divorced, But because of what you've just mentioned, the fractured relationships, like, it ripples. You know, you talked about your daughters, and that they also now had part of that fractured relationship. Yeah. But I want to now take you a little further down the road from that day when, you know, that big explosive argument happened, to, okay, the marriage is now, it's done. Papers have been signed, lawyers, judges have been involved, and it's a done deal. There's no going back, you know, so to say. What are some of the emotions that you wrestled with at that point now in your life, where it's like, okay, there's no redeeming this situation, it's really over? Where were you in life in terms of spiritually, and what are some feelings that you wrestled with at that time?
I think for me, I didn't, maybe just to, I didn't actually sue for the divorce, because I was hoping we could sit down and chat and have our ways resolved, because I believed in one thing. When we were meeting to be in a relationship, we're just the two of us.
Exactly.
There was no mommy, daddy, cousins,
lawyers,
no what.
Yeah.
It was just the two of us. I fell in love with her, she fell in love with me. We are like inseparable. So I was hoping for that situation to happen before we could actually drag ourselves to court. But fortunately, on the other side, she was already done. She was like, I'm done, I want out.
Yeah, because it takes two.
Yes, so it reached a point where even the lawyer's office, I just had to tell them, say, not, just give her the papers. I wanted to have a conversation before going in that direction, but I think the way it is, her mind is made up.
Yeah.
So they brought the papers to me, I signed. But we had that 2-year separation. I tried in that 2 years to see if I could rekindle the flame, but I was thrown in the gutter to say, you know what, I'm done with you. So I later on just said, you know what, I can't fight it. Let me leave it the way it is. And for me, the emotions that were there at that particular time was anger towards myself, anger towards my partner, because I was thinking we should have worked out these things, and then, the guilt, the shame was like cropping up, because now I'm thinking, okay, I made mistakes, and I should have been able to listen to the other side as well, to what she was crying for. So I'm battling that. I'm looking at my daughter as well. I now slowly started falling into workaholism. I started working late hours. I think you remember I used to be the last person to lock up the offices. I would go home at 22, 23. I only see my daughter when she's sleeping. Because I thought being tired would keep away from me thinking about this,
what you're feeling,
what I'm feeling. And for me, it dragged on for years. Because I dragged on for, even when I left working for the church, I joined another organization. I just became a workaholic. For me, it was a way of numbing the pain, numbing the feeling, and just avoiding people conversating with me to tell me like, hey, what's up, And then you also have relatives like my granddad who used to rub it into me to say, dude, when we're negotiating for your dowry, it was expensive and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, you know how I feel inside? I'm hurting, and you want to rub it in just because of those things. Like, how am I gonna, even like if I'm gonna date, there'll be a time when I'll have to explain my past to another woman. And then how is that if, for example, it goes to a point of where I want to like solidify that relationship, and then the parents probably, those things were running in my head, like where the parents say, but this guy's a divorcee. You mean you can't find any other guy who has never been in this arrangement before to like, and he's got a child, and unfortunately the child is also in special needs case. How are you gonna manage this thing? You see, and I think I like what my ex-wife was, when they questioned at the time that my child was coming into, like, we were in this relationship, they asked her the similar question, say, how are we gonna manage this child? And she says, no, I'll do it. I think she was a very brave person.
And there are not so many.
And there's not so many
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly.
And she managed it, you see. So for me, it was now an issue of saying, let me just focus on giving a life to my child. You know, like I shut down from things. I remember at one point, because of the emotions, the anger, you know, the grieving, you know, like grieving has got so many stages. It's like a loss
and then
you
it
felt.
goes in cycles, not like linear.
Yes, and for me, I dispelled the fact that I wasn't depressed. But, you know, depression, now that I'm learning those things now, I've learned that there are certain things like appetite, you know, eating patterns became horrible, sleeping patterns became horrible. I'm one person who I developed insomnia because I could only sleep after like midnight, like 02. That's the only time I wake. And I wake up at 5 and the day starts. I can go on without eating for like 24 hours. You know, I just went into that phase. To a point where my mom used to send my siblings to come and check up on me at my house whether I've eaten. Because my mom was like, this dude, there's something wrong here. You better go check up on this guy. She would even sometimes call me to her house, like, can you come and eat? I say, Mom, I've eaten. I'm fine. But I know myself. I got to a point I developed resilience for food. Like I could just not eat for long hours. I would work throughout. And slowly, as I'm noticing myself, I'm already small thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm losing more weight. I'm thinking to myself,
what will I become?
What have I become now? If I'm already thin, what more if I lose more weight? I'll just become flesh and I'll just become bones, not even flesh. Then I said, no. I said, okay, I had challenges to pick up from where I was because, you know, you're carrying all this shame on you, this guilt. Think like God doesn't look at me anymore. I'm messed. You know, the pastor would preach about God loves you.
But you wouldn't
receive it. I was saying, no, how? I'm in a mess. I've messed up relationships. I've messed up children. What love is there? Is this the love I want? And then, for me, it's because I had to reach a level of accepting that I had a role to play. Because I think it's something that also when you're going through a divorce or you have divorced, I think the issue of being a victim should come out of the picture of saying the blaming game, because we have it from our forefather Adam. You see, but we should look, what part did I play? Maybe my wife wanted me to hang out with her because that was a point of her intimacy towards me, and I neglected to hear that call. You know, maybe I wanted to hang out at home with the kids with her. Probably she neglected that key. So, you know, it's all those things, where I was trying to blame her, and I reached a point in my life to say, no, I shouldn't blame her. She also has feelings. She's a human being like me. You know, she's also a child of God. You know, the mess has happened. But I need to look to, like, what part did I play? And I think even going through Bible school, I went into Rhema. And I learned one thing to say, as a man, I'm the foundation of a home. If a home cracks, it's not the woman's fault. That's what I learned. That it's a man's fault. I remember recently when Pastor Walker was delivering a message on Ephesians 4:6-4, talking about fathers, you know, train your child. He didn't say mothers. So as a father, there's a lot of responsibility given to me which I need to take charge of. And for me, even with marriage, I remember when I was going through this divorce, I also was reading through the Bible in Genesis. God did not react when Eve ate the forbidden fruit. He reacted when Adam ate. He asked, where are you? What have you done? And the guy was starting to blame because now carnality has hit him. So even as men, we should be able to be frank with how we are feeling. I've been hurt. I've had loss in a relationship. Things are not fine. And I think as men, we always make a mistake. We jump into another one. Before we can sort out, to bandage. But we're not helping the next person. We're going into another relationship damaged. And that person is coming in with her whole self and we damage her.
Expecting you to...
Because now we'll be saying, yeah, this is what my ex was doing. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know? So there was all those emotions flowing in me. And I told myself, let me fix me. And fortunately enough, at the right time, I asked God to say, God, I can't do this thing alone.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's going to be an overnight fixing. It's a journey.
Yeah.
I've not been married for the past 13 years. I'm still single. But it's been a period of where I have to deal with my emotions. How was I feeling at that time? Am I still hurt? You know, like there were times when the time that we were divorced, after the divorce, even just seeing her in a certain place,
just
it's just
triggering.
triggering anger, you know, and then probably she's having fun, and I mean, how is she having fun?
Yeah.
Me, I'm going through turmoil in my life, you know, but I had to deal with those emotions to say, even if we were best friends, even if those things have gone, I should cheer on. I don't like the fact that when we notice, like sometimes when we go through these relationships, we start a new relationship. I've been hearing this thing of where once I go into a new one, it's like I can't talk to my ex, I can do this. Guys, I feel life is better than that. If the new person I'm finding in my life is comfortable with the people, it's coming with me talking about the people I've been with, and I've told this is the person I was with. She's not a bad person, she's a good person, if anything. Why not accept? If, for example, that person calls me to say, oh, our daughter is graduating, can you come to the graduation? Should you throw a tantrum because I'm going to see my daughter? No.
Yeah.
Life should be dynamic in such a way that let's understand each other. Because for me, carrying that pain, it's like what they say is that it's like unforgiveness. They say you're drinking poison hoping that the other person will die.
Yeah.
But who is dying is you. And for me, I think I started now trying to tell myself, now, whatever closure I'm looking for, probably I will not find it. But the best closure I can have is having forgiveness to say, we messed up.
Yeah.
I messed up.
Yeah.
As a man, I dropped the ball.
Yeah.
I should have held on to this marriage and made it right. I dropped the ball. And because I dropped the ball, what lessons have I learned? I've learned that God still loves me, even in the messed up state I was in. Even right now, when I still feel I'm trying to figure out how to see if I'll be able to date.
Yeah. Have you been on a date since the divorce? 13 years.
Short-lived, sorry.
Like, okay, but
because
you've been on a date.
Because I was dealing with things.
But have you been on a date?
Like a real date?
Let's go for coffee or something.
No, those you can go.
Okay.
I've gone to them.
Okay.
I've been on those, but
anything beyond that,
I get scared. And I'm thinking, okay, she's a nice person, but what if she's got drama?
We all have drama.
And I've got drama.
Yeah,
so I say, okay, so all of those things. So, but then I've been, like, you know, I've dated, but most of the time they've been short-lived because I just all of a sudden go in this phase of where I go back into
still have PTSD.
Yes, I go back into workaholism, and then I know people are big on communication, talking, and what.
Yes, girls,
I just go numb. And I learned a new word.
Ghosted.
Yes, this new word. I've sought forgiveness from God. That God forgive me.
You ghosted someone.
I've been ghosting. It's not even nice. No, like I don't.
Lord forgive me.
Yes, I'm telling you, God forgive me. Shandy has forgiven me. I didn't know until I asked the young people of the world. Say, the young people, the youngsters at church says, this is issue. What is this word called ghosting? Hey, I just said, oh, this is a ghost. So I've been doing that. I told myself,
oh my gosh. Oh.
I sought for forgiveness. I asked God, may that lady forgive me. I ghosted her. Because I didn't know. I would just phase out.
You just shut down.
2 weeks in a relationship. No, like not really a relationship. We were
But
communicating.
Yeah.
We were thinking, maybe. Then the moment that I can start sensing that she wants to get serious,
You just shut down.
I just say, no. I stop communicating once, now it becomes once a week.
Yeah, that is ghosting.
Once a month. Then next is 6 months, and I'm like, next minute you meet her, she's got a dude. How are you guys? How are you, sir? Nice. Oh, this is my boyfriend. I said, oh, nice. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Wow.
That's how bad it became, because I had so many of unresolved issues with me. And I don't want to be like that person, to be like ghosting, to use the word. I'd love to see how I can run in a relationship for a long period. But I'm working on it. It was an issue of dealing with me, and also buying into the fact that, can a divorcee find love again?
Yeah.
Can a divorcee find love without being stereotyped?
Yeah.
Because the challenge we have is being stereotyped by people that are gonna be would-be potential candidates for a meaningful relationship. We get to still have those issues of saying, our family talking about this.
Yes.
Luckily, because I went through and studied and did things in sensible significance, I don't really care about what people think now, because I know that God has accepted me, God loves me, God has justified me.
Yeah.
I'm 100% the holistic person. God doesn't love divorce. He doesn't hate the divorcees. He loves them.
Yeah.
He just hates divorce because of the damage it causes.
Exactly.
I remember one time we were told God is a person who actually did the first divorce. He divorced the Israelites at one point because of their rebellious behavior. And he said, I'm done with them.
Yep.
But he never stopped loving on them.
Yeah.
The same way, I would say I've not stopped loving on my ex. She was the mother to my children, or she still is to my remaining daughter. She's still a very good person. She's a very brilliant person. She's forward thinking. Whatever people might say about her, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is God loves her.
Yeah.
God loves me. We had our journey together. But that journey, despite coming at that end, it doesn't mean it's a journey that tomorrow I might be president of the Republic of Zambia and I'll need a vice president.
Yeah.
And I know she's a focused person. What not call her? Whether she'll be married or not, that's a ball game. But I always want to say, let's focus on looking at the good in that other person. And when you come and actually weigh the bad stuff that happens during that relationship when things are going sour, they're very teeny weeny things compared to the bigger picture of the goodness of that person.
Yeah.
We actually magnify the small little things, and those are small little things that cause cracks.
Yeah.
For example, if somebody left their stockings, should that crack the marriage? Somebody didn't wash the dishes. Somebody did not change a nappy for the child. Should that cause drama? If Madama says, help me with changing the baby, or help me wash the children, that should not temper with my ego. I should be gladly, because I also was part of the deal bringing them on it.
I know, right?
I should go and wash them gladly and happily, sing songs for Sunday school in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Not like, no, this woman, she's making me do things. I'm supposed to be the man of this house. No. That does not change who you are.
Yeah.
And if anything, you are one.
Yeah.
You're not two.
Yeah.
You can be working as two human beings, but in terms
you're
of
one.
you are one. When a child cries, you also should run to say, what is happening, my daughter, my son?
Yeah.
I think for me, it's just the emotions, and I think men need to man up and face those and say, okay, guys, where have we gone wrong? If it means crying, cry out and say, God, I've messed up. Like the Bible says, God does not despise a contrite and broken spirit. He loves those.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at, when you look at Jesus Christ, look at his disciples, there's so many dysfunctionalities in them, but Jesus picked them because he knew they could change the world.
Yeah.
If he said he didn't come to this world to seek the fit, the good looking, he came to seek the lost, people who are broken, and make them whole. That was his job. And yes, marriage has a failure in a marriage breaks things, breaks relationships. And for me, I feel like I would love to mend my relationships with my ex-relative, my ex's family.
Yeah.
Because they're my people. I lived with them in that period and I knew them even before we got married.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt for me to have a coffee with them, to have a braai at their home. We're still family, if anything, and we're still God's children. Should we just because, I've gone my way and I go and we're still bending with those anger issues? Yes, anger will there. It will flicker. The path to healing has got so many stages. Tomorrow you are feeling hyper, nice and good. The next day you're feeling low.
Yeah.
Sometimes even when you hang around with your married friends, it doesn't help. You're checking out, they're enjoying, their children are running around and they're looking. I wish I had this thing.
Yeah.
I had this thing in the bag.
Yeah.
But I dropped the ball.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, I think I've had good friends who have been there even through my ups and downs of life. And I think, like God says, God works through people.
Yeah.
And most of my friends have been there. They have not made me feel bad about the state I'm in. If anything, they have been trying to organize dates.
Matchmake
and I
you.
ghost them. Sorry, those ladies.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 more things. You've touched on some cultural stuff, which I like. You've mentioned gender roles and all those things. And I think as Zambians, culture is a big deal, especially when it comes to marriage. It's like you can be dating and then all of a sudden when they just hear the word marriage, all these people now are like, culture. And you're like, hey, where have these things made? I didn't know these things. So when it comes to marriage, for some reason, there's that strong emphasis on culture. And men don't really play that big of a role in those things. It mainly falls on the lady. But like you are saying, it's the man who is the foundation of a marriage. So I want you to speak to that. Speak to the man out there maybe who he's met someone, he's met his person, his best friend, his buddy, and he's thinking about popping the question. And what does that really mean? When you get married, what should he be thinking about? What responsibilities should he be ready to take on? Regardless of what culture is saying he should or shouldn't do, like you've mentioned. And also speak to someone who is married. They're currently in the marriage and they've been trained according to our culture. But you who's been in and now it ended because of, like you said, areas where you dropped the ball. What would you have to say to such a person? Say, guy, pull up your socks in these areas. Yes, culture may say this, but at the end of the day, that is your home, that is your marriage. And if you don't make adjustments, you're going to lose it. Yeah.
Thank you for that question, for those 2 questions actually. For those guys that probably want to get married, and especially our African culture, we can't seem, I think there's a problem, we can't seem to separate, to understand what the Bible says in Genesis chapter 2 from about 18 to 25, where it talks about, and then there's a portion where it says, and the man shall live. And the man shall live.
Yeah.
They're telling you to live physically, emotionally,
Everything.
financially. You leave them. They're no longer your relatives. Yes, you can honor them, you can help them out as long as you are discussing the matter with your bestie, your person.
Yeah.
But you have to live. Okay, like nowadays, we have got this situation where we live in the same complex. We can all live in the same complex, but that's your home. Your mother should not just be coming, or your father should not be coming anyhow. Even your siblings, even if you are living in the same complex, you have one estate, and you all have houses there. You have left.
Yeah.
If you want to have a party at your house, it's your party.
No one should.
No, if you tell them, no, Mom, I didn't invite you and my siblings, I've invited only my friends, you cut. I'm just telling because the thing I'm saying that when the Bible talks, a man shall live. You have to live. This thing of saying my aunt, my uncle, my grandfather said, no. You are now a holistic individual. 100% human being going to meet another 100%. and you make, I don't know what percentage you're going to make, but it will be exponential.
Yes.
But you got to learn to live.
Yeah.
This thing of saying, no, I'm sponsoring my brothers, my sisters. Anyway, you are born in the same stomach, but each one has got from the same. You have to go your separate ways. Yes, it doesn't mean that you should not be generous.
Yeah.
When you have, you have, but it should not be your business anymore, because now your business is your partner. And you have to get into mind, like tradition, yes, will teach us to say, you know, you need to look after the old folks, or maybe those who are, yes, there are areas in which, yes, you can help out as a couple, but then you can't hide that information from your wife.
Yeah, it's
or your
as a
husband.
couple,
It's
right?
as a couple. You sit down to say, there's my sister who has lost a husband and the kids needs to be helped. You agree as a couple.
Yeah.
Because you also have to understand they also have their own boundaries. And also make it known to the family members that whoever you're helping, that no, we're helping out, but it's not like a gateway to be like an ATM machine. You know, or we always have, yes, you can support, have emotional support to the family, but also learn to have your boundaries as a couple. And when you want to pop a question, be in the right state of mind to say, am I able to look after this woman? Because nowadays women are so empowered. They've got powerful jobs. We thank God for that.
Yeah.
And we can continue thinking, because we have been equal from creation. So a woman is actually more intelligent because she took time to build that special woman. So cheer her on, be her cheerleader. Don't bring her down. You know, whilst you're still courting and now thinking of it, don't become a monster when you get married. Be a cheerleader. See her go through. Make sure that she goes through and becomes progressive. It doesn't hurt to take her to school, to upgrade her. It's your job as a husband or as a partner. Because when you look at what God gave to Adam before he presented Eve, he had to make him cultivate. He had to make him work in the garden. He had to make him do something with your life. Like, it's not like nowadays these 8 to 5 jobs are not like the way we were growing up, where people are always telling us, no, you have to have a job, You can develop your skills. You can hire out your labor. You can make money. You are the provider of that home. So for me, I think we need to get to a part. Yes, tradition and culture has got its segments. There are certain good things about tradition, and there are certain good things about it, and some things that are not so good. But I think what at church, what we're always being taught to say, find somebody who is in the Lord. The number one thing, if you're going to date or you're going to meet somebody you want to pop the question and marry, is she a believer? Is he a believer? Does he love God more than me? Because then if that person loves God, they will know what God says about keeping that marriage. They will honor you as a wife. They will respect you. They will cherish you. They will love on you. Because a woman wants to be loved. And when the woman is being loved on, it's easy for her to give respect to you. As compared to where you are hammering her. It's like you're beating your own body. Respect me. But you're not respecting her. You see? And you expect that person to respect you back. No. Respect her. Cherish her. You know, and I think that's where you have, and when you're courting, have real conversations. Don't talk about dreams. Okay, yeah, dreams can be there, but don't be dreaming. Don't be in a dream world. Be real. For example, if you know that your job just pays you five grand, be real to the person that, dude, this is my job. It pays me so much. But if we put our heads together, like the Bible says, 2 heads are better than one. From a 5 grand, somebody can build a business, which will sustain you, which will make more money than your 8 to 5 job. But be real. Don't pretend to be like this person. When you go home now, you're even thinking, I use the money for fuel. How am I going to maneuver this week? You are not being real to your girlfriend. You're busy taking her to these nice places, eating out and whatever. You're not being real. Tell them that I can't afford this at the moment. It doesn't mean that my brain has stopped working.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. What an awesome what an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for more than a few nuggets. There's just been one after another, after another, after another. And I believe that, like you said in the beginning, this is going to help a lot of people. People who are maybe where you are, you know, they're divorced and they're trying to heal. Thank you for being vulnerable and answering things that I didn't even ask. Answering every question that I had and giving us insight into your heart, your life, and the lessons that you are learning now, like you said, the hard way, but learning all the same. I do believe, like you said in the beginning, this is definitely going to help people. Yeah, wherever they are in life, whether they're married, not married, divorced, about to get married, there's definitely something from this conversation that you can pick, and apply. So I thank you once again for being here, for being open. I really, really appreciate it. Well, famous warriors out there, I'm sure you've gotten blessed, encouraged, inspired, challenged, all the things, advice, everything in this episode from this conversation. Don't forget, even as you are facing different relationships, whether you're married, you're single, in a relationship, our chance to fight is a privilege, and you guys are definitely worth the fight. Thanks for watching.